You have your very own camera, so we won't have that conflict with them. It's a poem by Ellen Bass. It's called Pray for Peace. I'm just going to read it once. Pray to whoever you kneel down to. Jesus nailed to his wooden or marble or plastic cross, his suffering face bent to kiss you. Buddha still under the Bodhi tree in scorching heat. Adonai Allah, raise your arms to Mary, that she may lay her palm on our brows. To Shekinah, Queen of heaven and earth, to Inanna in her stripped descent. Hawk or wolf or the great whale, record keeper of time before, time now, time ahead, pray. Bow down to terriers and shepherds and Siamese cats, fields of artichokes and elegant strawberries. Pray to the bus driver who takes you to work. Pray on the bus. Pray for everyone riding that bus and for everyone riding buses all over the world. If you haven't been on a bus in a long time, climb the few steps, drop some silver and pray. Waiting in line for the movies, for the ATM, for your latte and croissant, offer your plea. Make your eating and drinking a supplication. Make your slicing of carrots a holy act. Each translucent layer of the onion a deeper prayer. Make the brushing of your hair a prayer. Every strand its own voice singing in the choir on your head. As you wash your face, the water slipping through your fingers, a prayer. Water, softest thing on earth, gentleness that wears away rock. Making love, of course, is already a prayer. Skin and open mouths worshiping that skin. The fragile case we are poured into, each caress a season of peace. If you're hungry, pray. If you're tired, pray to Gandhi and Dorothy Day, Shakespeare, Sappho, Sojourner Truth. Pray to the angels and the ghost of your grandmother. When you walk to your car, to the mailbox, to the video store, let each step be a prayer that we all keep our legs, that we do not blow off anyone else's legs or crush their skulls. Or if you're riding on a bicycle or a skateboard or in a wheelchair, each revolution of the wheel is a prayer that is, that as the earth revolves, we do less harm, less harm, less harm. And as you work, typing with a new manicure, a tiny palm tree painted on one pearlescent nail, or delivering soda or drawing good blood into rubber-capped vials, writing on a blackboard with yellow chalk, twirling pizzas, pray for peace. Pray for peace. With each breath in, take in the faith of those who have believed when belief seemed foolish, who persevered. With each breath out, cherish. Pull weeds for peace. Turn over in your sleep for peace. Feed the birds for peace, each shiny seed that spills onto the earth, another second of peace. Wash your clothes, call your mother, drink wine for peace. Shovel leaves or snow or trash from your sidewalk. Make a path. Fold a photo of a dead child around your Visa card. Gnaw your crust of prayer. Scoop your prayer water from the gutter. Mumble along like a crazy person stumbling your prayer through the streets. Make peace. Ellen Bass, that will appear in my blog later this morning. The blog is at robertbeatty.com, and you can find blog. I think it's already, Kat already put some Is that a link to it? Excellent. Then it will not be in my blog. There we go. So, friends, let's practice the fundamental of peace. There's a quote I used to use years ago. Who was it? There is no way to peace. Peace is the way. And where peace starts is in our own hearts. And if it's not there, then the wake we leave behind us is not a wake of peace. It's a wake of striving or opinions. So let's do this simplest and perhaps most difficult human undertaking. Let's stop. Let's dissolve into being everything. And in this model, this approach from the Buddha, we do that by developing concentration and mindfulness, and much more. But those are the basics. So please let us notice that we are alive. Or more accurately, let us notice that there is life here. This body breathes. And it breathes all by itself. Just that. How intimately can you embrace the breath? Each breath has a beginning. It then has a rising to fullness. A ceasing to rise and a beginning to fall. and then a vanishing. The same is, of course, true about thoughts. From one perspective, it would seem as though we're doing something. We are selecting the breath as a home base, and we are making an effort to be mindful. There's another perspective. And in that, what are we not doing? We're not feeding greed or hatred. We're not practicing ignorance. And then the simplest of facts become obvious. The breath is breathing itself. Thoughts think themselves. Our natural state is being awake. Our natural state is also love. So we have our incantation. I aspire to love and accept myself. This that I experience as myself. In this very moment. Exactly as I am. Exactly as the moment presents itself.
Pray for peace. Let each breath be a breath of peace. Let each breath completely, utterly pass away. Let us let our cherished resentments pass away. Any justification we have for hating or disliking or resenting anybody. Pray for peace. We seem to be pretty hardwired for cherishing resentments. Perhaps it had to do with some survival truth. Let each breath exist for itself, as itself. But what if the mind is kind of busy? What if it's obsessed? What if it's unhappy, angry, frightened, lonely, wanting?
Let us make peace with that too. Let us not have enemies that way. And so we can be profoundly awake, accepting of desire, wanting, grasping, lusting after something. Of hating, of hatred, of disliking, aversion. Of restlessness and agitation and worry. Sleepy dullness and sloth and torpor. Even of doubt. Doubt. These are all the weather of the mind. Our mindfulness, the mindfulness itself is a prayer for peace. There are three profound delusions which are the source of all our suffering. The first is the delusion of permanence. I'm going to last. My health will last. My relationships will last forever. We can make our own list of the beliefs that we have of what will last. And then we sit down with the scientific experimental kit of a human organism with human consciousness. And we watch this breath, this very one right now, or this mood, this thought, this attitude. And so we rest in great ease. Resting in our transient place in the universe. This moment right here, sitting wherever you are. Breathing in and breathing out. May all beings everywhere share in the peacefulness of our practice. May our practice with the unruliness and rebelliousness and outrageousness of our own minds be contagious. As we bring peace to this moment, as we awaken in the peace of this moment, may all of us, 7 billion humans, be touched. All of our friends of the air, the earth, and the waters. There are those who burrow in wood. There are those who burrow in the ground. There are those with great wings and little tiny wings. There are those we think of as our relatives and in-laws. There are those we think of as our estranged children, parents, friends. May we all remember our true great nature. And may we, practicing together, not wait for the world to show some way to it, because this is the way. It's in us. Hello, Aaron. I saw you show up there for a moment. Lovely. Please bear with me. I'm looking for something that I need here. That's how to do it. All right. I found it. That's good. And then this. June 24. June 24 to 29. Okay. There, sorry for all the waiting. June 24 to 29, I'm offering a retreat at Brighton Bush Hot Springs. I just put the link in the chat. The link will go tomorrow to the entire PIMC community. I'm offering it here to this little gathering first. There are, I think, 18 places left. It will fill. We haven't. Brighton Bush doesn't have it on their website. They have the retreat, but not the registration. So if you want to come on the retreat, it's all camping. You don't have to supply your own tent for everything, but they don't have indoor accommodations. At the end of June, it could be wonderful. It could be really wet. There will be heat in the Dharma Hall and so on. So,
hey, Robert, you just posted your email.
Robert Beatty at, I don't think so, did I?
I tried to go on it, and it just took me to a search engine instead.
Oh, shit. Okay. Thank you. As you can see, the details are really my forte. Try again. Dot. No space. Robert Beatty. Dot. I feel like it's a test. All right. Try that, Lilith. What do you think? What's the word?
That one worked.
Yay, thank you. There's no at. Where are you at?
Robert, are there extension cords or options for electric if someone uses a CPAP
Well,
for tenting?
I have the same problem, and no. I am actually going to buy a deep cycle marine battery. So let me ask again, okay? I'm making a presumption or two in there. I use a CPAP machine too. I can do okay without it, but it's much better to have it. Much less tired. So, anything else we should announce, Jim?
No, it's beginning of the month tomorrow. So my automated donation to PIMC will come out of my checking account, and I'll know that there's an ongoing river of support from many people to pay this forward, make it possible for other people in the future. So you might consider making a automated donation out of your checking account. It's one way of just supporting the connectedness, the Dharma, through our Sangha.
Thank you, Jim. So, anybody have something you'd like to share?
Good morning, Robert. It's Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Now, I'm not sure, but I have this idea that there might be lights and an outlet at every tent site. But what that outlet will take versus like charging phones or CPAP machines or things like that, you might want to double check with what's going on now. But I'm pretty sure I know guy. So he may have run power. It's something to double check.
I will double check today.
But I think like a convenience outlet, if anything like. Yes, I think the message changed. And another thing that I've been sitting with since Valentine's Day, because I wanted to just ponder it and I wanted to share with you, is that I had a really good test result. And right now I do not need radiation or surgery. It is, look how good it's doing. Let's sit and watch.
Yay.
Life is good. In spite of everything else in the world, in this little corner, not a bad day at all. And it's really good to be here today.
That's great, Joe.
Hi, Robert. It's Leanne.
Hello, Leanne.
Hello there. I have a question about, it's a complicated thing, but I'll try to just take one piece of it. I've been thinking about, I've been having a couple of strange dreams and being lost in dreams, and I'm kind of lost in life, and thinking about death, of course, because of my partner's death, and thinking about that transition to death, or the transition after death, I guess. And I know there are Buddhist practices, the Tibetan practices, but I guess the question would be, I'm very attached to the anchor of the breath. But what if I don't have it? Like in dream states or in death, and I know you've experienced what do you call anesthesia related sort of, those, what if your consciousness is lost and you're not going to find the anchor of the body for whatever reason? I feel like, I've been spending all this time anchoring in the body. It's going to be gone, Like maybe I need to choose another kind of anchor here. So.
What a beautiful question. Sometimes, let me put it as a question. When you're sitting and you breathe in, or it breathes in and then it breathes out, it sometimes stops. There's a pause. There's no anchor then, in movement anyway, but there is knowing. And all the objects of consciousness, all the objects that occur in meditation, they arise with something. They arise with that which knows. That's the refuge in the Buddha. The breath This is really such a beautiful and important question. Maybe that's my response. There is the co-arising of objects and consciousness. And so we can also practice being aware of consciousness. We can't look at it directly, but like this morning, I've been practicing for a long time, trying to be aware of the first moment of consciousness. And it's quite a remarkable thing, consciousness, because it isn't there, and then it is. And I don't know what that means in the moments or eons after death, but I do know how comforting and helpful it is to have that as a central part of practice, being aware of being awake.
I know that there are practices specific to that, teachers who teach the awareness of awareness. It's been, and a friend of mine is really into one guy, Rupert Spira, and I've watched some of his videos, but I find it very like beyond elusive. Maybe I'm doing it, maybe I'm not. I don't know. It feels like there's always an object. It feels like awareness is only there when there's an object.
Well, and there's an obstacle because, and I've been working with Matt Flickstein for I don't know forever, on non-dual practices, which are these, and there isn't someone there to celebrate, oh, good, now I have the consciousness now. It simply is. And the self wants the badge or wants the certainty, I'm going to be okay. Well, it isn't about the self. And so there's something about simply resting in that. God, I wish I was more articulate. What about this? what if, I hear in what you said, I hear the pain, by the way, of the loss still. That's really real for you. And perhaps simply allowing that pain to exist is one more aspect of I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And then there's, I want some surety about this consciousness without an object stuff. And what if accepting that fully is it? If the frightened separate self is frightened and separate in a moment, the only thing to do is to accept that more and more fully. Like I'm not, I just realized I have a poem. I have a lovely poem. My daughter discovered this. I always think of her when I remember it. It's Rumi, so 13th century, 12th century. Come on. What? Ah, there we go. Whew. Thank goodness for the iPhone and poetry. R comes before S. Rumi. Here we are. You ready? One night a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with the praising until a cynic said, so I've heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response? The man had no answer for that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Qadir, the guide of souls, in thick green foliage. Why did you stop praising? Because I never heard anything back. The longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the names of. Give your life to be one of them. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the names of. Give your life to be one of them. I, Robert Ego, would like to be sure too. I'd like to be able to sit here and say, yes, all you have to do is this and this and this, and it'll all be okay. And you will understand with certain, you'll be able to get 100% on the test. As opposed to, this is the ultimate mystery. And I have deep confidence that the way home is accepting everything exactly as it is, including the wanting certainty, resting in that question, which is quite a challenge. Thank you.
I want to say something about altered states because I think of death, the moments before, because I worked for years as a hospice nurse, and the moments after as sort of altered states. You know, what consciousness might be there, I think is not going to be as familiar as what we're experiencing right now. And learning to navigate somehow in altered states. This weekend I had a virtual reality device that I rented. And I do floating in darkness and quiet. And I used to take a lot of drugs, but I don't do that anymore. But
And they were important, weren't they?
oh my goodness, they have definitely informed my person. Yes. Yeah. But sort of that being able to, I think there's always going to be the experience of being lost in those states, and I wonder about death, you know, and then being found somehow, whether that's, you know, the awareness of awareness or finding some kind of anchor, some kind of there's a couple of dreams I had. One was total darkness and one was total light, and they were very different experiences, but in both there was a finding of something to hold on to in some way, like a voice or a sensation or a, I don't know, it's just such a, I've been doing some reading about lucid dreaming and using lucid dreaming as preparation for death and tied into some kind of dream yoga or something. I just read a little bit about that, but it does feel to me like that there's a way that doing the mindfulness practice that we do is a part of being able to stabilize somehow.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Though my hunch is I don't know. I had that when I had the aneurysm surgery underneath my brain, and they gave me that medicine, Keppra, that really made me psychotic.
Yes, I remember you talking
That was
about that.
very, very difficult. And mindfulness would click in every now and then, but mostly it was not there. But there was terror. And so I don't know what to say about that. That was an interesting experience. So the only honest answer I can offer you, really, is I don't know. And don't know mind is a time-honored practice in Buddhist practice. I don't know. And resting in I don't know. I mean, and really I don't know much about anything, in fact. The really important things. How could I know? I asked Ajahn Sumedho. I mean, he's one of my real heroes. He's been a monk forever, and I asked him about what he understood about what happened after death, and his reply was, "I don't know. I've never died in this lifetime," and I found that hugely relieving. Because it wasn't that I was missing out on some secret teaching that if I just had that, then I could feel totally confident about it. Here's someone who's devoted his entire life to, and who's one of the clearest minds I've ever read. And he said, I don't know. So I think I have a lot of ease in resting and I don't know. I'm very curious. I was so disappointed when I came out of anesthesia with the brain thing, because prior to that, I was so aware of coming to consciousness. I did a little counseling session with the nurse who was taking care of me coming out of anesthesia on a previous surgery, that he was so unhappy and I could sense it, and we did a nice little thing together. But that wasn't what happened with the Kepra. But that was its own experience. Kepra. Just that word. I do have a little PTSD about it. It's like, whoa, Kepra. It's on my medical record. No Kepra. Well, thank you, Leanne. What did Paula say in the chat? I just spotted the chat.
Thank you, Robin.
Oh, Jack Kornfield has a lovely podcast episode called On Death, episode 134. Well, that'd be good to listen to, no doubt. Well, I need to go pretty soon. But first, I want to check in with the Yukon. Hello, Jilly. You having any sunlight these days?
Yes, I've just been out on a couple of ski trips for the last week. Lots of sun, snow, mountains. So my soul is well nourished.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I owe you an email. I'll get to it today.
Great.
Well, anybody else sitting with something you'd like to share? You're all so beautiful.
Can I just say something really briefly?
You can say it as clearly as you want. Take your time.
Just wanted to say thank you to everybody for being here. That's all.
Thank you. Well, let us sing our way home. I have an appointment at 9 I need to drive to. You ready? Please unmute as you wish. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace to all. Love you.
Goodbye,
Have a
dear
blessed day,
friends.
everyone. Stay safe.
Have a lovely day. Goodbye, friends on Facebook and YouTube. This seemed to work flawlessly. Very nice.